So today, we're going to imagine that we're right there with Jesus in the last week of his life. We'll imagine that we are some of his disciples and friends. So let's pretend that it's long, long ago, and we are about to enter Jerusalem, the great city, the capital of our whole country of Judah. It's the place where the temple is, the place where we all come together to pray and to be with God. And we're coming with thousands of other people from all over to celebrate the Passover in a few days. Passover is the time when we remember how God sent Moses to free the people from slavery in Egypt. Passover is the celebration of freedom. But we're not free right now because the Romans have taken over our land. In fact, the Romans have taken over pretty much the whole world. They are the ones in charge, the ones who make all the rules. What do you think we feel about that? We don't like it one bit. We want to do what we want and not be told what to do. But listen, I've heard that God is about to act to set us free, that God has sent someone to save us, Jesus. He's been traveling all around our country, teaching about justice and freedom and love and peace for everyone. He's been healing people, and some people are even saying that he is going to be our new king. He's on his way to Jerusalem right now. People are so excited. Can you feel the energy in the air? I wonder what will happen. And he's coming here right now. He's riding on a donkey. And we're so excited, we greet him like he's a king. We cut branches from the trees and we wave them in the air like banners, and we throw them on the ground for him to ride in on. And some people begin yelling, "Hosanna," which means save us. But not everyone is so excited. Some of the priests and the Judean leaders, the people who are in charge here in our country, are feeling angry and scared. They don't like that people are calling Jesus a king because there's already a king in the land, the Roman king. The Roman king is the one in charge of them. He's the boss of everybody. He's very mean, and he has lots and lots of soldiers. And he doesn't want any other kings in the land because he wants to keep being in charge and keep having all the power. So the Judean leaders and the priests are feeling nervous about what might happen with people calling Jesus a king. They tell Jesus to get the people to be quiet, to stop shouting. But the people just keep right on shouting. I wonder what will happen. It's a few days later, and today is the Passover, the festival of freedom. Remember that we are Jesus' friends, and we've spent all day getting ready to celebrate together by having a big, fancy meal. And now it's time to eat, and we sit down at the table. Jesus knows that his death is coming very soon, and he wants to give us a way to remember him and to know that he is always with us and always loves us no matter what happens. Just like every other time that we have eaten together, Jesus takes the bread, he blesses it, and he breaks it. But then he does something new. He says, "Take, eat. This bread is my body, which I am giving for you. Do this to remember me, and to remember that I am always with you." Then Jesus takes the wine, he blesses it, and he says, "Drink this. This wine is my blood. I love you so much that I am willing to hurt and to bleed for you. When you drink the wine, remember me, and remember how much I love you." Then Jesus gets up from the table, and he takes off his outer robe, and he says, "I'm going to wash your feet." Now, washing feet was a job that nobody wanted, like taking out the trash or changing a dirty diaper. It was a job that the servants did, but tonight, Jesus did it for each of his friends. He knelt down in front of them. And he took warm water, and he poured it on their tired, aching, sore feet. And he washed them very gently, the way your parents may have washed you when you were too little to do it for yourself. And then Jesus took their feet into his lap and dried them very carefully with a towel. I wonder how it felt to them to have Jesus wash their feet. Jesus did it to show them how much he loved them, each of them. Then Jesus said, "I give you a commandment, a way to live. Love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. This is how everyone will know that you are my disciples and friends, if you love one another." Jesus was feeling very sad and very scared. He knew that some of the priests and the Judean leaders, the people in charge in Jerusalem, the ones who had been scared and angry when he got there, were trying to get rid of him. And so he took his disciples and went to a garden where he liked to pray. He didn't want to be alone, so he asked them to stay awake and to pray with him. But all of them were so tired, they just couldn't keep their eyes open. All of them fell asleep. So Jesus got down on his knees alone, and he prayed to God that God would help him and be with him in the hard time ahead. Jesus' friend Judas had decided to help the people who were trying to get rid of Jesus. Maybe he was angry with Jesus or disappointed in him. So he led them, along with a whole crowd of soldiers with weapons, to the garden where Jesus was praying. When they got there, he went up and gave Jesus a kiss on the cheek to show the soldiers who they should arrest. Jesus looked at Judas and said, "Friend, do what you are here to do." The soldiers grabbed Jesus and arrested him, and the disciples ran away and fled because they were afraid that they would be arrested too. But Peter, Jesus' best friend, didn't run away. He had promised that he would never leave Jesus, and so he secretly followed the soldiers to the place where they brought Jesus, to the home of one of the leaders, where all of the leaders were waiting. Peter snuck into the yard and was warming himself by the fire. But then a few of the people there recognized him. They said, "Weren't you one of Jesus' disciples?" But Peter got very scared. He was afraid that he would be arrested and punished too. He said, "No, I don't even know who Jesus is." When he realized that he had broken his promise to Jesus, he ran out, crying. The soldiers took Jesus first to the Judean leaders, and then to Pilate, a Roman soldier who kept an eye on things in Jerusalem for the Roman king. They all said that Jesus was claiming to be a king, and that was breaking the rules. They decided that he should be punished. They decided that Jesus should die. The soldiers took Jesus, and they dressed him up like a king, but instead of a gold crown, they put a crown of sharp thorns on him. They pretended to bow down to him, but then instead they hit him, and they spit on him. The soldiers led Jesus to the top of a hill. They put him on a cross there to die. Some of Jesus' friends who were women, Mary Magdalene and Mary and others, were there. They stayed with Jesus, even though they were afraid that they would get into trouble, because they didn't want him to be alone. A few hours later, in the middle of the day, it suddenly got very dark, like a night without any stars. Jesus cried out from the cross, and he breathed his last breath, and he died. Jesus' friend Joseph took Jesus' body and wrapped it in a clean white linen cloth and placed it in a tomb in a cave. Then Joseph rolled a huge stone in front of the cave to keep Jesus' body safe. That Friday was very sad for Jesus' friends. It was the saddest day in their lives. They were sad because their friend was gone, and they were sad because it looked like God wasn't going to save them, and like all the things that Jesus had taught them about love and freedom and peace for everyone had come to nothing. Early in the morning, on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb to visit Jesus' body and saw that the stone had been taken away from the entrance to the tomb. She ran to tell Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved. She said to them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we do not know where they have put him." Simon Peter and the other disciple ran to the tomb. They were running together, but the other disciple ran faster, and he got there first. Bending down to take a look, he saw the linen cloths lying there. Then Simon Peter arrived, and he went into the tomb. He saw the linen cloths lying there. He also saw the face cloth, which had been on Jesus' head. It wasn't with the other cloths, but was folded up in its own place. Then the other disciple, the one who had arrived first, went into the tomb too. He saw and believed. They did not yet understand the scripture that Jesus must rise from the dead. Then the disciples returned to the place where they were staying. But Mary stood outside the tomb, weeping. As she was crying, she bent down and looked in the tomb, and she saw 2 angels, dressed in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been, one at the head and one at the foot. The angels said to her, "Woman, why are you crying?" She said to them, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have put him." Just as she said this, she turned and saw a man standing there. He said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" Thinking that he was the gardener, Mary said to him, "Sir, if you have carried away his body, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." He said to her, "Mary." When she heard him say her name, Mary realized that the man was Jesus. She said to him, "Teacher." He said to her, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet gone to my Father. But go tell my brothers and sisters that I am going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary left and told the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." Then she told them what he said to her. I wonder how it felt to Mary when she saw Jesus. I wonder how it felt to the disciples to hear that Jesus was alive. I wonder what difference it makes to us that Jesus is alive.